We're like puppets, and there's a puppeteer called the Illuminati.
By that time, the Illuminati had infiltrated all the Masonic lodges.
Do you believe we're going to have a Holocaust of this time the Christians?
When you get to a 32nd degree Freemason, one of the titles they give you is that it'll say right on your certificate, order out of chaos. They have to create chaos to create order.
Hey everybody, David back with you. You're watching David Hevner Live. This is actually our church. It's your church, God's church. This is it, okay? In these times, we must come together. We must learn the truth. We must speak truth because a lot of the churches aren't doing it, okay? So I really appreciate you, and I really love you guys, and I thank you, all the prayer warriors. We have over 600 prayer warriors. Please, if you could go and order this End Times DVD collection. It has everything that we've been talking about on this broadcast, and even what we're talking about tonight with Dr. Lake. We're talking about the Antichrist. We're talking about Illuminati, New World Government. Just text the word bonus to 41444, the word bonus to 41444, or you can get a Legalize Jesus t-shirt and a mug, because we got to make Jesus legal. It's the first title of the first episode of Last Evangelist, Legalize Jesus. You can text the word chosen to 91999, or just go to davidhevener.tv/order, and you can pick it up. Go to davidhevener.tv, sign up. There's things on there you're not going to see on these other channels, okay? I have videos on there, and we have original programming that you're not going to see anywhere else. Okay, talking to Dr. Michael Lake. Dr. Lake, we've been talking about the mark of the beast, the system, the mark, and we talked about the spirit of Nimrod, going to be a Nephilim. It's coming up on us now. Who is behind this? Is it the Illuminati behind this?
I think it is, and really to even understand the Illuminati, you've got to realize that the Acts 15 council, where the Gentiles were welcomed in because of the gospel, devastated paganism in the ancient world. Prior to that, Zeus ruled over humanity for 3,000 years. After Acts 15, within 200 years, that paganism just died out for the most part. And so hell had its own council to try to reverse what happened in Acts 15. And there were 5 players. Weishaupt was, he was absolutely obsessed with fives. And so he had 5 initial players, but the 3 that stand out the most, one of them was Mayer Rothschild. Of course, today everybody knows who the Rothschilds are. He was the founder of the Rothschild financial cartel, which is basically the central banking system around the world. Most people talk about Adam Weishaupt and his goals, and I want to read you their goals to see if you can't see these things being played out right now. The abolition of monarchies and all ordered governments, the abolition of private property inheritance. Didn't the World Economic Forum just come out and say, you're going to own nothing and you're going to like it?
That's right.
Okay, yeah. That's humanism. To abolish of patriotism and nationalism, the abolition of family life and the institute of marriage, and the establishment of communal education of children, and to abolish all religion.
Wow.
That's the basic tenets that they put together. And, you know, you can say, well, you know, the history says that there was this guy that was struck by lightning and they found his secret notes and they dismantled the Illuminati. No, they dismantled maybe one cell group because the Rothschilds kept going, didn't they? And by that time, the Illuminati had infiltrated all the Masonic lodges. Today, every single Masonic lodge, I believe, around the world has become under the control of what the Illuminati did, and that's their primary goals. And so the Masons of today were very different than the Masonic lodges, let's say, of George Washington's time here in America.
Okay, so the original founders, one of them was the Rothschilds. So there were like 3 original founders of the Illuminati. How many years ago, because you read their mission statement, how many years ago did they write this?
They wrote it back in 1776. In fact, you'll find the date on the back of your $1 bill, May 1st, 1776.
Wow. Wow. And so now I want to ask you about the Freemasons. Are you saying that originally the Masons were, quote, they were legit, they were clean, but they got infiltrated by the Illuminati? Or are you saying that it was set up for that purpose originally?
Well, they went from gray to black. Okay,
Okay.
they were caught up in the mystery religions. They used them to try to, especially here in America, they used them to try to counter what they saw of the abuses in Europe of the divine right to rule, which came from the Word of God. And so they pulled from the ancient mystery religions to try to set up another ruling system. I know Dr. Tom Horn has written extensively on that. There's a ceremony where the Pharaoh, when you could be king of Egypt and not Pharaoh. There was a ceremony they went through that you took on the spirit of Osiris. And when you did that, then you became Pharaoh. And they have been doing a similar one for every president since George Washington, waiting for that. And I think originally they did it in as far as I can tell, in their own minds, was to counter the divine right of rulership. But they were speaking with the same spirits that were of the old world that's guiding the Illuminati and every dark avenue of everything. So these creatures love to dupe men into doing things that maybe they don't fully understand.
Yeah. And everything we're seeing now, the protests in the streets, the riots, all this defund the police, BLM, I mean, it goes on and on. All of this is, it's like we're like puppets. And there's a puppeteer called the Illuminati, okay? The dark side. They're the ones orchestrating all this. They're the ones they love this, right?
They do, and in fact, well, in fact, when you get to a 32nd degree Freemason, one of the titles they give you is that it'll say right on your certificate, "Order out of chaos." They have to create chaos to create order. But we always seem to center up on Weishaupt because he did the philosophical side, but the religious side was a guy named Jacob Frank, and he was a nihilist. It was burn it all to the ground, wipe out anybody of the old system. I mean, he hated any kind of law, even the law of Moses. He hated all of it and said it was an abomination and it was hurtful to man. And he borrowed from a guy that generation previous, Sabbatai Zev, that developed the concept of salvation through sin.
Salvation through sin.
Through sin. And so they talk a lot about, that, the true spiritual Torah, the true spiritual law, which everything was permissible. Yeah. Moses couldn't handle, so he rejected that from Yahweh and came up with his own. And so they hate any kind of law, and they want chaos. They want it all burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the writings of Jacob Frank, Hitler read after him, Stalin, Marx, Mao. I mean, every despot that the last, couple of hundred years has produced were students of Jacob Frank.
Wow. Do you believe we're going to have a Holocaust here in the Western world, America, the Western civilization, a Holocaust of this time the Christians? And if so, what does that look like?
Well, I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like. I know there will be pockets of it. God has been speaking to a lot of people prophetically about cities of refuge, where there'll be places of safety. But we need to understand historically, there was a Christian Holocaust in a nation that became known as Turkey. That Islam and the Nazi socialism merged together, and this is prior to World War II. That they had concentration camps and they exterminated the Christians, and it was a proof and concept of the Nazis before they did what they did with the Jewish people during World War II.
Wow. Wow. So I'm going to take a break, but before we do, I want to ask you this question. Jesus said, "I saw Satan falling from the sky." Now, this is Luke 10:18. Jesus said, "I saw Satan falling from the sky." I've read this many times. Can you elaborate on this specific thing of Jesus seeing Satan falling from the sky?
I think it was prophetic because it was when he sent out, and it was the first group that he sent out, and it was specifically 70, not
Yeah.
71, 75, 70, which speaks to the Tower of Babel. When God divided the nations according to the sons of God, the fallen sons of God that had rebelled against him. And Jesus was saying, my gospel is going to get the nations back. And we see part of that manifesting in Acts chapter 15, but the very complete fulfillment of it we see in the book of Revelation, where they announce that the nations of the world have become the nations of God and of his Christ. And that's part of the gospel of the kingdom and what it's supposed to do.
So when you say getting the nations back, these aren't countries. These are groups of people, right?
Right. Originally when you go back there, and there's some debate whether it was 70, 72. I know that Derek Gilbert has also looked into a lot of archaeological digs where they have found out that the word 70 can also mean all of them. But God basically divorced all humanity at the Tower of Babel and says, but I'm going to draw one man out, his name is Abraham, and I'm going to make a nation for myself.
In these last days, there will be perilous times. People will worship false gods, lying signs and wonders. Bibles will be taken out of schools. As the Antichrist arises, Christians will be persecuted. But now, God's people have awakened. David Hevner Investigates is proud to bring you End Times Investigations, a new DVD series containing over 8 hours of interviews, commentaries, and teaching on Illuminati and the New World Order, Satanism, miracles and healings, the Antichrist, and one world religion. David interviews some of the top experts in their field.
Hi, I'm David Hevner, and I'm proud to bring you this brand new DVD collection, End Times Investigations.
David reveals how the media is working hand in hand with the Antichrist system. Order now and receive this special DVD collection. Equip yourself and your family. Text BONUS to 41444 or davidhevner.tv/order. Call toll free 844-806-0006. Text BONUS to 41444 or davidhevner.tv/order. Call toll free 844-806-0006.